What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Stars and Podcast, powered by Sharp Sports Network. I'm your host, Joe Biewer, and I have Walker alongside with me as well from Sharp Sports Network. I am the NFL analyst, and Walker does the NBA content, and we decided that with all of this virus pandemic stuff out in the world right now and sports getting canceled, there's not too much to watch, to be honest, as far as daily fantasy content goes out there. So we decided that we just wanted to start something fun and relaxed and just kind of go over some of the trades, rumors throughout all the sports and kind of give our take on them, whether they're stars or a scrub trade. That's exactly what the podcast is named for. So we're really excited to bring that to you. We're going to have 3 days a week doing this since there isn't too many trades kind of going on right now. But we do have some that happened a couple weeks ago to talk about. And then at the end of this, throughout each episode, we're going to have some fun games, whether it be a Guess Who or kind of a debate, just kind of something to talk about. Just give everybody kind of, something to just listen to as the day goes on, smile, laugh, whatever it may be. So I think for today, me and Walker are going to kind of break down Tom Brady as well as Nick Foles going to the Bears. I'm really excited about those things. Obviously, this episode is a little more informative based on how the podcast is going to be going, but it's only going to get smoother from here on out as the transitions are a little bit better. So yeah, I think Tom Brady's kind of, first for us here. Obviously going to Tampa Bay, a little bit unexpected. I think it was pretty terrible that the Patriots didn't even offer him $100 million, to be honest. He should have finished everything that he had there out in the Patriots. I think he did a terrible job of not keeping him there. Where do you kind of weigh in on that?
Well, I think it's a really, really surprising thing for him to go to Tampa Bay. There were so many rumors that were flying out there about different teams, whether it be the Chargers or even the Colts. There were so many different teams that he could have landed at. Early on, I was really thinking that he might just go to Chicago. I thought that would be a nice little spot for him there because he'd have
that.
Yeah, well, I know you would, but he's got the young QB and a guy like Mitch Trubisky that he can, in my opinion, just kind of coach up a little bit. Him going to Tampa Bay, though, I mean, there's rumors. I haven't obviously heard anything directly from Tom or seen anything on his social media saying this, but everybody's saying that he wants AB. Imagine the wide receiving core that he would have in Tampa Bay with Chris Godwin, who, by the way, is probably going to get paid a lot of money to give up that number 12, Mike Evans, and if potentially AB. I mean, he's already got a stacked receiving core, one of the best in the NFL, if I do say. But if they were to load up on another guy, I mean, a lot of people don't think AB is even going to play in the NFL again. It's definitely very, very speculative, and it's a touchy subject with some people, but I just think that the receiving core is already stacked, and when you bring Tom Brady to a team like that, there's been confirmed plenty of players, especially ball catchers, tight ends, wide receivers, that are just willing to take pay cuts to go to Tampa Bay and play with Tom Brady. In my opinion, he's unarguably the GOAT, but in a lot of people's opinion, it's very arguable. So I'll leave it at that. But I'm really interested in the Chris Godwin number 12 situation. I think that's a pretty funny little prop thing on the side going on over there. But from a fantasy sports perspective, is Tom Brady a draftable QB? Like, are we looking at him as not an early, not like obviously not a Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar. He's not obviously going to be like that, in my opinion, in terms of fantasy drafts here in the 2020 season. But are we looking at him being drafted in one of those, 8-9 rounds, kind of, this might be a stretch for some people, but around that Drew Brees territory, you think, one of those like top 8, top 10 sort of QBs?
I don't know. I just did see this morning, though, that Godwin did give up number 12. He's going to be number 14 this year.
14.
So that's a little interesting. Obviously pay homage to Brady.
Of course.
I am not a Brady lover. In my opinion, I might get some flack for this. Peyton Manning's the best quarterback of all time. Just going to say it is what it is. That's just my hot take. But the whole AB thing, I think, muddies the water a lot. And I'm going to tell you my hot take for this, just with how much NFL that I did cover last year and how much that I did that I have already looked at for next year. I don't think Tom Brady is going to have a good year. I think that the division he is in is way tougher now. I think that having to play Breeze twice is going to be a hell of a challenge. Yeah. And to be honest, the odds already came out. They have New Orleans winning their division. They have Tampa Bay coming
rightfully
in
so
second. So I mean, it's close odds, minus 120 odds on the Saints, plus 150 on the Tampa Bay. But let me say this: Tom Brady is not a Jameis Winston type quarterback, which is
Yep.
why Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have incredible years, because Jameis Winston throws freaking 10,000 yards. Like that's what he does. That's just how he does 10,000 yards in like 3 weeks. Like that's just like,
Yeah.
it's just what it seems like.
10,000
So
yards and 4,000 picks.
Brady is just a finesse quarterback. He's going to do what he needs to do, control the clock, and win the game. I don't think that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are going to have the year that everybody thinks they're going to have. And if you bring AB into that situation,
Oh,
from
then
a
it's
fantasy perspective, every week, as we last year had the issue with trying to figure out, is it a Mike Evans week or is it a Chris Godwin week when they were playing the Atlanta Falcons?
roll the dice.
It's a roll the dice week. And now you add AB in there and it's rolled 3 dice. It's like, it's ridiculous. So for me, I think that this is going to be a year where Tom Brady does what he does. Like Julian Edelman had great years because he was the only wide receiver there that would even catch the ball. So to be honest, this is a year where I just really don't think that drafting Mike Evans or Chris Godwin in like the first round.
Lord.
Mike Evans was a first rounder at some point in his career. He's the
early
only person,
second, late first, in like 12, 14-man leagues for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's had 1,000-yard receiving seasons every year that he's been in the NFL. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, I don't think that adding Tom Brady really changes what Jameis Winston did either. Jameis Winston didn't lose them games.
No.
Like, I don't think Jameis Winston lost them games.
Sometimes, but I mean, those were the 4 or 5 picks game. The last season before last, where him and Ryan Fitz were getting swapped around, that was definitely an anomaly in my opinion. That was interesting.
Look at last year. I mean, Tom Brady didn't have an incredible passing year. He didn't pass for 5,000 yards. He didn't pass for 40 touchdowns. Like, he's just not that guy at this stage. He was 5 years ago, but I think maybe Mike Evans or Chris Godwin like run it up and they just allow him to do whatever he needs to do. And it's just an absolute like bloodbath of every team. But I mean, they have the number 2 run defense in the league. That's known. You don't run against Tampa Bay. They held Christian McCaffrey to under 100 yards and he was going on a tear. But my hot take is that Tom Brady's going to be, and I don't think Tom Brady's going to be a top 5 quarterback this year. That's just my opinion. I think the offense is there. I just think that his play style and the way that he commands an offense is just very technical and calculated. And it's not kind of let's throw 40-yard post routes and see what happens.
I think that he's a huge, very, very strong thing for Tampa Bay to add in terms of winning and being a successful team. From a fantasy perspective, I kind of agree. I think Jameis Winston with his whole, let me just throw this ball. Hopefully one of my guys catches it. I got talented receivers. Let me just throw this down there. Hopefully Mike can get up and get it, or Chris can go up and get it. I think the receiver that benefits the most in this team, or ball catcher, is probably O.J. Howard, just from what we've seen from Tom Brady. O.J. Howard, he can run a lot of stick routes and kind of get up there. But in terms of the checkdowns, when you have guys like Godwin and Mike Evans that are going to be able to stretch the field and open things up over the middle for a guy like O.J., we could see a serious bounce back from him this year. So I'm kind of excited for that. And I also think that Tom Brady, this is something that a lot of people haven't talked about, but I think that Ronald Jones, after a super dud, splitting here with Peyton Barber, I think he had like one good week last season, but I think that Tom Brady could actually be a pretty interesting addition in terms of the run game, because he is going to be able to kind of work that offense, read the defense much, much stronger than Jameis Winston ever did, and maybe open things up for these guys. I think that's something interesting for sure.
Yeah, I think the running back situation in Tampa Bay is very similar to the Patriots. James White and Sony Michel is very similar to Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber. But like I said, Tom Brady, 24 touchdowns last year, barely eclipsed 4,000 yards. In my opinion, if I'm drafting one person from his team, it's Chris Godwin. He's pretty much the same thing as Julian Edelman, slot receiver, very quick, across the field, loves crossing routes. That's where Tom Brady and Julian Edelman hooked up on anything, these quick slant routes across the middle for 40 yards at a time. I think that's kind of where Chris Godwin's going to shine a lot. Mike Evans might get overlooked a little bit because, like we had in N'Keal Harry, we had a bunch of other, receivers that were on the outside that were running those seam routes, and they just weren't getting the love that they should have. So, for me, I don't know. What's your hot take? Do the Bucs finish first in the division? Yes or no?
For me, it's very close. I'll say no, but I definitely think that they make a wild card. I just don't see how New Orleans loses that division. That team is truly stacked. It's really hard for me to picture a world where New Orleans does not win that division. And if the Tampa Bay series, in my opinion, is probably going to go 1-1. I think Tampa wins at home. I think New Orleans wins at home. I don't think if it's a 2-0, if it's a sweep, it's going to be for New Orleans. It's not going to be for Tampa. Tampa should not be able to win in the Dome there in New Orleans. But regardless of that, though, it's very, very strange, I think, it's obviously going to be weird for everybody, especially Patriots fans that are our age, in our 20s that grew up loving the Pats, and they're going to see Tom Brady in a Bucs uniform. It's just such a weird thought. Like, it's almost like when Favre went and played for, the
Minnesota.
Jets and the Vikings. Yeah, I mean, it's very strange. And he had that one super successful year with the Jets as well, did he not? Wasn't that the AFC Championship, or was that?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something that it can happen, but it's very it's a very, very tough division. We don't really know what to expect from Carolina, and we'll get into that here in one of the future episodes now with the quarterback situation there. We got a lot to break down with that. But to touch on real quick, the Falcons, Todd Gurley, I think is an amazing addition for them. I do not think Todd Gurley's career is over. I do not think that his injuries are as bad as they might have seemed to others. I think that it was more of a year off for him. I think that it was a lot of coaches, maybe it was their decision, maybe not. I think he wanted to be safe because I think he's still got a career ahead of him, and I think that's an amazing addition for that team. And that's definitely going to strengthen them a lot with, obviously the threats of Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley out there for Matt Ryan. They already have the passing game, which should be, unless something, totally changes, that should still be effective against Tampa Bay throwing the ball. I haven't seen anything that leads me to believe otherwise. I think that passing against Tampa is still going to be the play, but with a clock manager like Tom Brady, it's going
game
to
should be closer.
Yeah, game should be closer. The time of possession should be much, much more even, especially with a guy, not just a clock manager like Tom Brady, but a guy that's, I wouldn't say scared, but very, very cautious with turning the ball over. So it's going to be a really, really interesting picture there in the NFC South this year. And I hope that this NFL year starts on time because I'm stoked to see it. It's going to be.
I am too.
It's a spectacle, man. This isn't something we get every year. I remember there was the year of the running back, the McCaffrey, Kareem Hunt, Dalvin Cook draft year. That's insane. This is something crazy too. I mean, this has got to be the craziest quarterback offseason I've ever seen.
And then you got a bunch of rookies coming in too this year, wide receivers and quarterbacks. It's going to be a mess. So,
and then these XFL guys too. I mean, we have not. In my opinion,
the stars of this trade are the Bucs and the scrubs of the Patriots. They should have kept on to him, in my opinion. I don't think you let somebody like that go, especially when what he did for the organization. And like I said, that's just how I view it. That's the star and the scrub for me.
I think that the true star and scrub is going to be determined by the records of the teams rather than if he has a good or bad season or whatever. I think that the big thing this year that a lot of people are forgetting is Belichick and Brady. Which one of them will be more successful without the other one? Yep. And I mean, it gives me chills just thinking about it. It's a super long shot. Nobody's going to want to hear this. But if they do match up at any point in the playoffs coming in AFC, NFC, super long shot, I know, but I must say it, the potential Super Bowl matchup of Brady Belichick, it would just be insane to me. And I would love to see that. I would love to see it. Everybody would, I think.
I think it would be super cool as well to kind of just see that feud. But I think we pretty much covered that. I mean, obviously the star is Tom Brady going to the Bucs, and the scrubs are just the Patriots.
We're in agreement on that. If anybody does have any questions though regarding that Brady trade that we did not cover,
leave your comments down below as well. Like, who are the stars and scrubs in your opinion of that trade? Maybe some of you agree with us and whatnot, but. Bears, Nick Foles, my favorite one to talk about. Big Bears fan over here. I'm a huge Mitchell Trubisky believer after the first year. This past year kind of pissed me off.
That hip injury definitely had a serious toll.
The shoulder injury as well halfway through the year. It was just all a joke to me, to be honest. I felt like Matt Nagy could have coached better. Trubisky could have played more like a quarterback and not scared the whole time. For me, this is an addition of a veteran quarterback who some people don't believe he actually has what it takes after Jacksonville last year, the injury and all this whatnot. But for me, at the end of the day, he won a Super Bowl against Tom Brady.
He's also better than Carson Wentz, I must say.
Yeah, I agree. So for me, I think this is the biggest star in this trade is Nick Foles going to the Bears, and the scrub is Mitchell Trubisky for sure. But if you think about it, they have arguably a potential top 5 wide receiver in Allen Robinson, who gets up and gets every ball that you can throw to him, or at least tries. Has made the best out of what Mitchell Trubisky has given to him, but has massive upside. And this could be a great year to buy low on Allen Robinson after last year.
Yep.
Especially if Nick Foles starts. I don't expect him to start the first 2 weeks, but Nick Foles is a pocket quarterback, much like Tom Brady, and he sits there and he picks his points pretty precisely. And Allen Robinson could benefit a lot as he hooked up with DJ Chark a ton last year.
I remember Foles had that one really bad game last year. That was just a really great spot where he ended up dudding. I think he threw like 3 or 4 picks.
Talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. From a Bears fan, Allen Robinson, arguably top 5 as a wide receiver. Maybe for me, I would say as an all-around ball catcher, I would list him in my top 12 for sure. Probably closer to the top 10, just because I think that his ball catching ability is really, really underrated. I think that one guy on this team that will take a huge boost from this actually is Tariq Cohen. I am a massive Tariq Cohen believer. I think Tariq Cohen is truly going to have an amazing career. He is the closest thing to Darren Sproles we've seen since Darren Sproles, and
big upside,
huge upside for sure. I remember Trubisky that first year, like you said, he was an absolute monster. I think Foles is going to start straight out the gate this year, and I think that that's a good thing for Trubisky because I think he needs that veteran leadership. Like I mentioned when we were talking about Brady, Brady definitely could have gotten in there and kind of tucked him under the wing, kind of showed him some stuff. But I think Foles might even be a better quarterback to do that because he's such a system QB with what he knows, and they're definitely not comparable in terms of athletic ability. But Trubisky, for him to potentially reclaim that starting job, he's got to start using his feet again. That was his biggest asset for sure. And then I do think that there is a small narrative there with Trey Burton and Nick Foles reunited, and I like the Trey Burton bounce back if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting because Trubisky is a mobile quarterback, and that's what got him to the playoffs 2 years ago, and it was really fun to watch. He played like he commanded the offense, and him and Nagy had a thing.
Kicker problems.
The addition, well, I can't,
Doink.
and I can't double doink, and that was heartbreaking. But for me, Cohen was like, to be honest, had a commanding usage lead over Jordan Howard that year, especially towards the end of the year. In my opinion, is a better asset than David Montgomery will ever be.
Correct.
And for me, I was also a little disappointed that the Bears didn't try and get Todd Gurley and let Tariq Cohen kind of run the first and second down, check down runs and let Todd Gurley kind of do the goal line work and be the James White or Sony Michel of it and kind of run that 2 running back set. And it kind of sucks for me. But for me this year, if Nick Foles plays and starts, I expect David Montgomery to be his Leonard Fournette, if I'm being honest. I expect him to kind of run the first 2 downs and then Tariq Cohen come in for the screen passes and stuff like that. But like I said, if Nick Foles starts, Allen Robinson has Michael Thomas upside. And it's clear that if he had a quarterback who would obviously throw him the damn ball, that we could see some of the potential that he has. So I really think that this year is going to be a true tell-all for the Bears. If Trubisky doesn't start and he wins back his starting job, it's a chip on his shoulder, and we're in a good position. If he doesn't and Nick Foles dominates, we're still in a good position. I think the Bears make the playoffs this year in a wild card, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, so I was going to touch on that as well. I think that Minnesota takes a big hit. I don't think that Minnesota's the same team this year unless they start throwing the ball and getting a more balanced offense. I know they did towards the latter part of last year, but I really do worry about them with no Stephon Diggs. I think Diggs going to the Bills was a very, very big trade. We'll talk about that in a future episode, I am sure. But I do think that Adam Thielen being the star receiver of that team without a co-star is going to hurt Thielen. I also think that it's going to hurt the Vikings as a whole because I think that they're going to understand Zimmer wants to feed Dalvin Cook the ball 45 times a game. If he could, he would. Regardless, Dalvin needs to stay healthy. He's a very, very talented runner, but I don't think I would not be surprised to see the Lions and the Vikings kind of tie up there at the bottom of the NFC North. Coming a little bit of bias if you can't see from the sign behind me, but I mean, I don't see them being a very dominant team. I think that they're going to be comparable to Detroit this year.
Yeah, and I think that Olabisi Johnson should have a better year this year as well without Diggs. But like I said, for the Bears, like I said, for me, the Bears were. I don't think there were really any scrubs of this trade, to be honest, as far as team wise, because Jacksonville has Gardner Minshew, and I truly believe that that's something we should talk about in a future episode as well. But I think the Bears were big stars in this trade. This is a really big. This is probably the most pocket quarterback we've had since Jay Cutler. And I think this is going to be something that's kind of going to just turn the tides because we have the defense, top 3 defense in the league. Khalil Mack trade.
It's the number 1 defense in the league. I won't listen to anybody that tells me the Patriots have a better defense.
I agree. I'm just going to leave it out there for spectacle.
It's not
because
I'm not going to make you say you're the Bears fan, but no, there's no way anybody can argue with me that that's not the most dominant and just game-changing defense in the league. Tell me about the Patriots all you want. Talk about Stephon Gilmore all you want. They do not compare to the Chicago Bears, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Leonard Floyd loss kind of hurts a little bit, but Roquan Smith
is just fine. Roquan's an absolute beast.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast.
The secondary is dominant, but it is what it is. Regardless of that, though, one thing I do want to talk about real quick with the Bears, though, is a big boost for Allen Robinson in the loss of Taylor Gabriel, which I think was a horrible trade. Or did they trade him? Or did they just let him go?
They released him.
Yeah, I think that was a horrible play by the Bears there to lose Taylor Gabriel. I think it's a boost for Allen Robinson fantasy-wise because I think he should see a larger target share, obviously with him gone. But I don't unless there's something we don't know, I can't really wrap my head around why they do that.
Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe it was cap space, but
Floyd and Gabriel was very interesting to me.
Anthony Miller should have a better year out of the slot.
I like Anthony Miller.
I think it should be a good year for them. So, as always, leave your comments down below. The stars and scrubs of this trade. Nick Foles coming to the Bears, kind of that addition. It wasn't really a trade, but that addition that kind of changes things. But so, should we guess who it right now? Should we do that?
Yeah, I'm in for it. I'm ready to play the first game, but make sure that we do talk about the prizes that the winner will get.
Yep, for sure. So, pretty much once a week, we're going to do a guess who. Pick a random player across any sport. It doesn't matter. We're gonna
any major sport, one of the top 3.
Any major sports. We're gonna give you 3 hints, and you're going to comment down below the answer. If you win this guess who, $25 PayPal, Venmo, whatever cash prize, or pick a shirt off of our website, sharpsportsnetwork.com. It'll be in the description down below. We'll go ahead and send that out to you right now, just to add a little bit of fun into everybody's day, something to kind of think about and look forward to. So yeah, let's jump over to it. Here, the first clue for this player is that he played for 8 different NFL teams. I won't list them, and you should see the clues will be popping up below our names below. The first clue is that this person played for 8 different NFL teams. Like I said, I won't list them, but that is the team that he played for 8 teams. Second clue is this person at a point in their career switched their jersey number 15 to number 12. So from number 15 to number 12. And then the last hint is that this person plays on the offensive unit.
So you have an offensive player that's played for 8 different NFL teams and changed from jersey number 15 to number 12, and I'm pretty sure Tom Brady was never number 15, so get that idea out of your head.
Just because we talked about it in this episode. Yep. But like I said, we're going to be doing this once, maybe twice a week, as well as another couple games that we've thought about as well that we're going to just do something in every episode just to kind of get everybody excited and have something to kind of look forward to. So probably the schedule will be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or just random times throughout the week, 3 times. So, yep.
Joe, real quick. So for the player, the guess who, is it going to be the person that comments the correct answer first, or is it going to be a random correct answer that comes on the comment section there? How do we want to do that? We could do it random if there's multiple. That way, if one person gets it, everybody else can still comment. And then next episode, we can randomize and shuffle it.
Yeah. So if there's more than one person that gets it right, we can do that. But this one's a pretty tough one, so I expect only one person to get it right. If you get it right, first person, take a screenshot and send it to me on Twitter or Walker on Twitter. We're also going to post this video on Twitter as well. So if you have a guess, you can comment on that post on Twitter as well.
Correct.
We will just announce the winner in the next video when we do another game as well. We'll start off the video by announcing the winner and whatnot there. So I think that pretty much wraps up this first episode. I had a blast doing this. I'm sure Walker did as well. This was super fun. Just something kind of a little relaxed where we can talk about sports again because it's been a while. We haven't been able to really do any content. it's been a really tough time where everybody is playing League of Legends DFS. So it's a little bit different for everybody here. But I really appreciate everybody who gave this a listen. Me and Walker are super happy to be doing this, and we're really excited for the future episodes. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time for episode 2 of the Stars and Scrubs podcast.
And make sure you turn on your notifications, hit that bell so you don't miss it, because if you miss it, you will miss another game and another giveaway. Thank you guys for coming out. We will see you guys in episode 2. Again, that should be 2 to 3 times a week we'll be doing these podcasts, so we hope to see you guys in the next one. Again, thanks for coming out, and peace.
Peace.